You won't believe what happened in Reacher Season 3. The moment everyone is talking about why did Quinn cut off Beck's ear? What could push a man to commit such a horrific act? Was it pure rage, calculated cruelty, or something even more sinister? Stick with me as I break down the shocking truth behind this brutal moment, because trust me, you won't want to miss a single detail. In Episode 7 of Reacher Season 3, fans were left shocked when Zachary Beck appeared with part of his ear missing. The last time we saw him in Episode 6, he was still whole. So, what happened in between? What horrors did Quinn unleash on him, and more importantly, why did he do it? Was this just another display of power, or was there something more sinister behind it? The answer lies in Quinn's ruthless nature, his need for control, and his relentless pursuit of dominance. What Beck endured was more than just physical pain, it was psychological warfare, a calculated act meant to break him completely. Let's rewind for a moment. By the time Episode 6 rolled around, Xavier Quinn had lost his patience. Not only had Jack Reacher infiltrated the Beck mansion, but it turned out that another person close to Beck was also working undercover. Quinn was furious. Imagine thinking you're in control, only to realize that the very people closest to you are spies. The very foundation of your operation, the people you trust, suddenly become the reason for your downfall. That kind of betrayal doesn't just anger men like Quinn, it consumes them. It makes them reckless, vengeful, and cruel. And when a man like Quinn gets angry, he doesn't just lash out, he destroys. First, he confronted Beck. He wanted to make a statement, to instill a fear so deep it would never fade. A lesson had to be taught, and Quinn knew exactly how to deliver pain. He had already hurt Beck once by taking his son, Richard, and cutting off his ear. That moment alone shattered Beck's sense of control. You could see it in his face, the realization that he was no longer the master of his own fate. Fear took hold, deep and paralyzing, stripping him of any illusion of power. He wasn't just dealing with a ruthless criminal, he was staring into the eyes of a man who thrived on suffering, who found joy in inflicting pain. And that terrifying truth changed everything. But Quinn wasn't done. He saw that Beck had grown weak, had made mistakes, and had let not one, but two undercover agents into his operation. That wasn't something Quinn could let slide. He wanted to send a message, a brutal warning that failure was not an option. He needed Beck to understand that he was nothing more than a pawn in his game, a piece to be moved or destroyed at will. And what better way to drive that point home than to take from him what he had already taken from his son? By making Beck endure the same mutilation, Quinn ensured that every time Beck looked in the mirror, he would be reminded of his powerlessness, of Quinn's dominance, and of the fact that as long as Quinn was in charge, Beck's suffering would never truly end. So, Quinn did the unthinkable. He cut off Beck's ear. The same injury he had inflicted on Richard, he now mirrored on his father. A sick, twisted reminder of who held the power. But this wasn't just about sending a message, it was about control. Quinn wanted Beck to relive the pain, to be haunted by it, to know that no matter what he did, he was at Quinn's mercy. He wanted every glance in the mirror to be a reminder of his own failure. And most of all, he wanted Beck to understand that resisting was futile, that no matter how much he might want to fight back, the cost would always be unbearable. And it worked. Beck was broken. But he was also angry. You see, fear does one of two things to a man. It either destroys him completely, leaving him paralyzed and submissive, or it sharpens his instincts, giving him the clarity to fight back. Beck, despite his fear, saw an opportunity. He realized that Quinn's sadistic tactics were not just about power but about control, and for the first time, Beck considered the possibility that if he played his cards right, he might be able to turn the tables. His fear became fuel. He knew he couldn't match Quinn's brutality, but he could use his knowledge of Quinn's operations to his advantage. The question was, would he have the courage to act before it was too late? Enter Neagley. She saw Beck in Episode 7, and she saw something different in him. He had lost his ear, but he had also lost his faith in Quinn. That was an opening. She reached out, asked him to help them take Quinn down. And for the first time, Beck listened. He knew he couldn't let this continue. If he didn't act now, Quinn wouldn't stop at an ear. He had already threatened his son's life, and Beck believed him. So, he took a risk. He agreed to give them information, vital information that could end Quinn's reign of terror once and for all. Now, let's take a step back. What does this moment tell us about Quinn? In Season 1, we had Kleiner. He was ruthless, but his cruelty had purpose, it was all about business. In Season 2, we had Langston, an ex-cop who was more about control than sadism. But Quinn? Quinn is different. He doesn't just kill for gain, he enjoys it. He thrives on pain. He doesn't see people as assets or obstacles. He sees them as toys, things to break for his own amusement. That's what makes him so much worse than anything Reacher has faced before. Even Reacher himself acknowledges it. And if Reacher is concerned, you know it's bad. Neagley puts it perfectly when she says, "These aren't counterfeiters in Margrave or ex-cops in New York. Quinn and his men are trained soldiers with a stockpile of badass guns that could rip us in half." That's the chilling reality. This isn't just about stopping a criminal empire, this is about going up against a force designed for war. Reacher has fought powerful enemies before, but Quinn and his men bring a level of precision and brutality unlike anything he has faced. The stakes have never been higher, and one wrong move could mean the difference between survival and total annihilation. That's the difference. Quinn isn't just a criminal, he's a monster. He doesn't just take power, he feeds on suffering. And Beck? Beck was just another piece in his game. A pawn he could break and use at will. Until now. Until Beck realized that fear could only control him if he let it. Until he decided he'd had enough, that he wouldn't just sit back and be another casualty in Quinn's twisted world. He saw his chance to fight back, to reclaim some sense of control. The question is, will he survive long enough to see it through? Or is he already too deep in Quinn's grip to break free? So, what's next? Can Reacher stop Quinn before he goes even further, or will Quinn prove to be his most ruthless adversary yet? Will Beck's betrayal come at a cost, forcing him to pay the ultimate price for defying Quinn? And how will Reacher adapt to an enemy who thrives on suffering, someone who doesn't just want power but relishes in breaking people? With every passing moment, the stakes rise, and the line between survival and destruction blurs. One thing is certain, this war is far from over, and the next move could change everything, not just for Reacher, but for everyone caught in Quinn's deadly web. One thing's for sure, this season isn't holding back. Every episode raises the stakes, pushing our characters to their absolute limits. If this moment shook you, just wait, what's coming next will be even more intense. The real battle is only beginning, and the consequences will be more brutal than ever. Loyalties will be tested, sacrifices will be made, and the fight for survival, justice, and revenge is reaching its boiling point. No one is safe, and with every passing second, the danger only grows. If you want to keep up with all the latest on Reacher Season 3, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments, do you think Quinn is the most terrifying villain yet? Or do you believe Reacher has battled worse in the past? Share your thoughts, and let's dive into the debate.